Welcome to the Live Life Show. Thank you for joining me so much today. I am so excited. Why is that? Because I have spent hours going through all my Croatian photos. What a journey. And thank goodness I like taking photos so I could share my epic trek with you. Season 6 is all about my, how long did I take? 16-month solo backpacking trip throughout Europe, Turkey, and parts of Asia. I went to 10 countries, and some of them I even went back to. I had an amazing time, and in this time when we can't travel, I figured, why not share? Because the time will come when we will be able to travel, and what an amazing time that will be. Hello, thank you for the heart. And so if you would like to give me a heart, a thumbs up, make a comment about any of the photos that I am about to show you, because I've kept the same format. It would be impossible to do this live. I get all distracted and find it really hard to decide which photos should I show you and with my story. Please make sure that if you super duper love a photo, give it a thumbs up or a heart or make comments, and that applies to you too, replay viewers. So, are you ready for episode 4, where we have a look at Split, Brac and Dubrovnik? It was indeed an adventure. Let's go before I lose my voice. And where are we? Oh, here we go. Yes, I found it now. This is episode 4, season 6, Goodbye Croatia. We start this episode in Split. I loved Split. This is river and a lively boardwalk. You could sit here for hours, people watching, having a coffee, having a beer, a cocktail, eating any one of the incredible array of really delicious and incredibly cheap, especially compared to Australia, cakes and desserts. Just behind river is the Palace of Diocletian, built by a Roman emperor, and Jupiter's temple. I really enjoyed the Egyptian Sphinx that's here. Jupiter's temple was built in the 3rd century, and it was such a delight to actually have your photo taken here. The other thing I liked about this whole area was where in their little alleys you could just sit. Look at that little table and chair there, just pushed up against that ancient wall. Just for some reason, it was so full of atmosphere. Walk along the city square, have a look at a residential home, and look at this cat, not at all perturbed by people who were just so intrigued by this cat sat on the stairs and having his or her photo taken. Another view of the whole area in this whole palace area. And when you have a look at this, what I particularly liked was the fact how they've combined all the modern. There are lots of little modern and real boutique, some of them, shops. So it was an incredible difference between the old and the absolute brand new. And of course, I had to find my coffee. This is D16 coffee. Totally delicious. It's one of the higher prices I paid for my coffee. Along the wall, they had many of these drawing. So they had one of the emperor, and this one, which I quite liked. I thought it was really quite quaint. From Split, you catch the ferry to go to the island of Brac. Now, when you get to Brac, well, what I did was I jumped on the public transport and I went to Bol. Now, Bol boasts to have the best beach in the world. I'm not really quite sure that that's true, but how cute is this? And I thought, oh, wow, I have to take a photo. And walking along, and the time came, I really just had to have a sparkling wine, especially when I could see a piccolo of Henkel Trocken. At this little cafe, it was $9.69, and you can get it in Dan Murphy for $5. Now, I must say, that's an unfair comparison. I'm pretty confident that you'd probably pay a couple of dollars more when you're in a cafe or restaurant in Australia. So I walked all the way around till I actually came to the beach that they're saying is the best beach in the world in their advertising. Okay, it's an overcast day, the tide's in, and there's not a lot of people there sunning. It's attractive, but if we want to call it the best beach in the world, all I can say is you haven't been to Australia. Now, walking around this headland, I come to this side, which is a nudist beach, but it was pretty cold that day, so there weren't too many people without their clothes on, thank goodness, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing this slide. Jumped on the public transport, went back to get the ferry. Now, back at the area where I needed to catch the ferry is Supita. What a glorious place just to sit there. It is really spectacular. And I was quite impressed here. One restaurant had a board out the front that said, "We do not serve tourist food. If you want original Croatian food, then you are welcome." From Split, I jumped on a coach and went to a favourite place, Dubrovnik. Boy, what a day though to travel. It took 3 hours longer than what it should because it was raining so much. But even so, I landed at my Airbnb, got my brolly out and walked through the city gate closest to me, and I still had to see Dubrovnik because I'd seen all of these incredible photos, and now here I am there, really there. Can this be true? Even at night, still beautiful. So I woke up the next day, thank goodness, and looking out from my Airbnb window, you can just see Dubrovnik there, the city there. And I thought, wow, I had trees. It was a super, super small room. I could barely move around, but I didn't care. I walked down the side there. You can see that little alleyway to the right, down past the trees, and walked right along. Look how glorious this is. And this is just before I walked through the gate. And when I walked in, the first thing you have to do is walk the wall. The next few slides are all about my experience as I walked the wall. And this is one of my favorite images. How glorious is that? There are people that live inside those city walls. And here's proof of it. Imagine if you were that guy, see the guy at the bottom there, sitting there having your cup of coffee. You would have to really get used to people walking the wall because this is your home. You'd have to really get used to it being okay that your socks and your underwear, your bra, whatever is just there for everyone to see. You really have to get yourself to a place where you don't care. Otherwise, you couldn't live there. And look at this gorgeous streets. Now, there are a lot of stairs. As a matter of fact, anywhere in Europe, very few places that I travelled to was actually flat. So if you really want to get the best from your experience, especially in Dubrovnik, you don't have to be super fit, of course, but you do have to be okay with walking up and down the stairs. Just around from my Airbnb, it was this incredible gallery. And look, just there in time to take this photo. So can you tell that I absolutely loved these streets? I do love the quaintness. I'm not one who's into everything looking the same, and that's not the case here. Everyone's put their quirky little idea on how to present where they live, and they don't have a lot of space. It'd be very hard for an Australian used to living on acreage, let alone move to a city in Australia, but to move to something like this. Now, I could not leave Dubrovnik without a Cravatte image. How cute is this? Who invented the cravat? Well, it's pretty obvious. Croatians did. The cravat originated in 1630, and like most men's fashion at the time, it was of military origin. Croatian mercenaries knotted cloths around their neck. Soldiers wore linen and officers wore silk. Oh, here we go. The night before, I had to jump on that plane the next morning very early to go to my next adventure in Turkey. And little did I know what awaited me there. For now, it's goodbye, Croatia. Thank you. I had the most amazing time. Can you see why I absolutely fell in love with Croatia? And when I flew out on that plane early the next morning, little did I know that I would be back again, and this time for a whole month, living with an Aussie who had relocated over to Croatia. And we met through some expats and through a Facebook page, a really, really good Facebook page all about Croatia. On that vein, I would like to talk about the people that I've met, because it's not just about the landscape, isn't it also about the people? And I met some amazing people, indeed, in every single country of the world. In Croatia, I met a wonderful American couple, and they invited me back to their place they were visiting as well, and we had tea, and Alba cooked, and Mike and I drank. Then I had to get back to my accommodation. There were so many wonderful people, some beautiful expats that I met. One of the expats, because they cannot stay in Croatia over a certain amount of time and they love Italy, here's how they actually work it. So they spend 3 months in Croatia. Croatia is not part of the Schengen Zone. Then they go over to Italy, to Lucca mainly, and then once that 3 months, 90 days, has finished in Italy, they have to get out. And that's when they go back to Croatia. Again, not in the Schengen Zone, but even so, there are visa requirements. Wonderful experience, wonderful to meet so many types of people and hear their stories and see the countries that I visited through their eyes. And as I always say, the one thing is that we all need to operate more from the heart. That's why I've got my beautiful little heart thing here. Operate more from our heart. The world needs it. The world needs it more even now. even more so now. Every single episode of my Live Life show has a heart key, and the heart keys, when they're actually acted upon, when they're implemented, the ones that really appeal to you, then they cannot help but get you to live a fearless life of remarkable joy. And I know what so many have said. Oh, thank you, Chris. It's very sweet. I said, a fearless life of remarkable joy? Come on, have you looked around? Have you watched television? Have you seen what's actually going on in the world? And indeed I have. When I am living my life in fear, then all I'm doing is contributing to the fear. And it's tough enough without that. So, I know what you're thinking. Well, come on, where's the heart key for this episode? They're all very simple. Sometimes we need to hear these things way more than once or twice. The heart key for this episode is take the first step. That's it. Take the first step. Nothing in my whole 16-month backpacking solo around the world, or part of the world, turned out as it should have. I took that step expecting certain things to happen, and they didn't. But guess what? Other things happened that turned out to be amazing experiences, and that created an even better journey for me. Thank you for joining me, Victoria Rose from the Live Life show. I'm not quite certain what I'm going to be doing next week now at 11 a.m. on Thursday. Will I be able to broadcast live from Agnes Water in Australia on my Facebook page? Am I still in Facebook jail? In next week's show, I will share with you some of the incredible experiences I had in Turkey. You'll see amazing photos and some amazing people. You enjoy this day. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have, let me know. Bye.